Coming to you from beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona, this is the Drinking Horn Meadcast. Join us as we take a deeper dive into mead and mead culture. This one goes out to the Strange View on Reddit. He said he misses our raps. Oh, yeah. Now, here's a little story I'd like to tell about mead and adventures, how they go so well. It's not hard to understand, as you will see if you sit right back with Evan and me. Yeah. Your turn.
Oh, that's what you're doing waiting with that drop beat. You know I'm standing here just on these 2 feet. I want to drink some mead and talking about hiking. Good thing that I'm not talking about biking.
Talking about biking, but he's talking about his shoes. When you put mead in your backpack, you won't lose. You gotta take it out, take a sip every once in a while. Yeah. Fresh.
That was...
I don't know. That was all right.
We'll see. We'll see if we keep it. See if something more natural doesn't come out.
Yeah, the Strange View on the Mead Reddit, he wanted to... Well, he said he misses... First of all, our podcast, 'cause, by the way, where the hell have we been?
Yeah, he said we haven't... It's been a few months.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I know we've actually had a fair number of people asking us when the next episode is coming out.
Yeah.
And we're sorry. We get kind of wrapped up in stuff and sidetracked. And
Did you say wrapped up?
I sure did.
Wrapped in it, wrapped in it. That might get erased in this. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So we get,
see if it makes it.
Yeah, we get a little wrapped up. We get going. We're, it's kind of a good thing, I think. Well, no, it's a very good thing. The Meadery and Mead Hall have been doing really well.
Yeah. It's been busy.
All things considered.
Well, for a pandemic. Yeah.
And all things considered, my NPR cannot take that away from me. It's not copyrighted. It probably actually is.
They wouldn't do it. They would appreciate this podcast.
No. Cool. So I don't know if my gain is good enough. So hopefully this won't kill people's ears. But I'm going to go up just a little bit.
Take it up a notch.
Take it up a notch. Speaking of taking it up a notch, we are taking this Meadcast up a notch. I don't know why, but I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, we're taking it up 2 notches at least.
Oh, 2 notches.
Yeah, into Adventureland.
Yes, Adventureland. So this podcast is going to be all about why mead is such a rad adventure companion.
I think it is a companion.
Yeah, it keeps you warm at night.
Mm-hmm.
It
It can help provide entertainment through the slow times, like a good friend, you know?
Yeah, it can weigh you down sometimes as well, though.
It can absolutely weigh you down.
But not as much as other beverages.
That's true.
We'll talk about that.
It's got an upside.
Yeah. All right, so mead adventures. That's what it's all about. Let's talk about we're on an adventure right now. We're on a podcast adventure.
It's true. I mean, every day is an adventure if you think about it.
It kind of is around here.
It certainly can be.
Yeah. So in our glass right now, we've got some mead that, why don't you tell us about what's in our glass? What are we drinking?
We're drinking a little bit of black cherry. And it's one of my favorites for the significance of it. This is it's my favorites for lots more reasons than that. It tastes delicious. I do love black cherry. It's my favorites. I likes the Englishes.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the very first mead that we ever sold was black cherry. Yeah, we didn't start with the traditional or anything. I liked it. It seems so genuine, the surprise.
Okay, well, let me try again. What?
Yeah, totally, dude.
Dude, where's my car?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry. Black cherry is the very first one that you brewed,
the very first one, which you helped me with the very first batch. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember. And on our drive just the other day, we were listening to the Meadcast, the podcast episode that I did while you were brewing it.
Yeah. So it was a little rugged.
Yeah. The audio was
compared to the equipment that you have now. It's
oh god, yeah,
it's a little rough. Yeah. You would hold the phone closer to me and then closer to you. Yep. It was fun.
Yeah. So this is the first one ever brewed.
First one ever. Well, yeah, first one ever commercially done as a big batch.
True. Yeah. And is there any tie-in why? Because you guys celebrate your anniversary this month in February. Mm-hmm. So that kind of ties in because it's a February release.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
That's the whole significant. That's why I love this one so much, is because it signifies that we have made it another year. And so we first started making sales in February 2017. And so this is, let's see, 20, 18, 19, 20,
48
21.
years. No, wait, that's
This
not
is
right.
the start of year 5. No, year 4. Man, my math sucks. Either way.
At least he did it fast.
Yeah. Real fast. There wasn't any editing.
To 8 to 9 to 10 to 11. So, yeah, this is fourth. Now I'm confused. What do you mean the start of the 4th year?
Because like a year is like a long period. It's like a year long.
8 is 2, 9 is 3, 20 is
Well, because we started in
21 is
17.
5. This
We
is the
started
start of the 5th
February
year.
2017. So then 1
Oh my
year
gosh.
to February 2018,
Oh.
2019, 2020, 2021, 2020. So yeah, it's I don't freaking know. It's 4 and some change.
I'm going to say it's a good thing I don't do the books, but I'm looking across me, the guy that does do the books.
The IRS is coming after
Thank you,
me.
calculators.
Thank you, computers.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, that's awesome. I'm sitting here looking at an empty glass of black cherry.
Oh, no.
But
We are using the tiniest glasses ever.
tiny, tiny glasses.
We figured this would
Tiny
help slow us
glasses.
down. Because then you're like, oh, how many glasses have I had?
Tiny
I
glasses.
don't know, because they're tiny.
Tiny glasses.
Tiny and delicious.
Of mead
Drink
in my
more.
mind.
Black cherry mead.
Tiny glasses. Tiny sips of
All right.
black mead in my...
I don't know if you can sing, snap, and catch all at the same time.
Something's going to break. Hopefully
This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be a fun game on this podcast. We're playing Catch the Bottle of
Playing
Mead.
Catch the Bottle and Hoppa. Oh, that was a nice toss.
Flipped a little
If you-
bit, but it was good.
Actually,
That was
the way
adventure right
flipped,
there.
If I had a glass on the ground, I could have caught it and poured at the same time.
Yeah.
I used to do that at cilantros.
Oh, fancy. Used to be like, man, I'm always forgetting the name of that.
Tom
I'm not gonna
Cruise
bring it up.
cocktails.
Thank you. So I want to dig into this.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited too because
I should have poured me and then
walk
chucked it to
away
you. Because now that I've chucked it to you, you're going to have to chuck it back.
that's a
It makes it
problem.
more fun.
Yeah. Oh, but I got to do it lefty.
Oh, shit.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Lefty toss. My hand's wet. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so scared.
I got it.
That
I
was
got it.
Slightly short. This is one of my favorite things. There's lots of favorite things that I've grown to love about Mead, but this is one of them as well, is its ability as a kick-ass adventure partner. And we're going to talk about all the different reasons that it's a great adventure partner. And this is in no way saying that if you have a different choice of beverage to go out and adventure with, that, that's any less, but we're going to hype up, of course, Mead as a beverage.
Of course. But there is no wrong beverage to bring into the woods.
No.
As long as you make sure you have some water. I mean,
That is, yes, a downfall of many a times for me. Water is probably the best
why do I have
beverage.
2 liters of mead and 1 liter of water? Where am I going?
Wait, that sounds perfect. What? How is that not what you're supposed to do?
I need more water than that.
Yeah. It depends what you're doing, I guess. So, yeah. Oh, hiccups there. So I don't know. I don't really have an order of operation on this. So whatever just kind of comes to mind. We've got a list in front of us here, but I think you want to start?
Yeah, I do.
Cool.
I think one of the best places to start, at least for me, is like the ecologic responsibility of drinking mead, So like a lot of people that are going out into the woods, you care about this place that you go to, or to the river, or to the rocks. We live in the desert. It's a whole different place for those of you who live places with water. And like, if you're going out there, or whether you're going out there hunting or hiking or backpacking or boating, like you care about the way the place looks. That's part of the reason that you're out there. So inherently, like, you want to be having as small of an impact, or at least as small of a negative impact on that place that you can. And as far as like your footprint goes, whether you're talking, I mean, there's various aspects to that, but mead is by far one of the most like ecologically responsible things to drink.
Yeah. Way to start it off in an amazing kind of like deep spot there. That's awesome.
Zing!
At least to me, because
It's all down here from hill.
Was that on purpose?
Downhill from here. You know?
Oh my God, that was awesome. I wish that was on purpose. I hope that was on purpose.
Well, yeah.
It's all down here from hill.
Oh,
That's like all I can Mead is think about.
Yeah, truth.
No, the tie between people who go and recreate in the outdoors and the responsibility factor, the care factor is definitely a tight woven knot. You know, it's if you look at the advocacy groups for, climate's a big one now, but more than that, even like river and ecosystem restoration and stuff like that, like pretty much every community, whether it's biking, rock climbing, running, kayaking, they all are tied in with some kind of help to that ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And so what a great tie-in to that, because we have talked about before in past episodes, I think in Why Mead, it was like our second or third episode, but just how, like you said, how small of a footprint, and you said by far, and I do agree with that, it is by far the least impactful alcoholic beverage out there.
Yeah. Well, in the sense of badness for the environment.
Yeah.
But it's the most impactful at the same time.
In your heart?
In my heart and my liver.
Yeah. Why is that? Can you just kind of roll out a little description of why Mead is a low impact beverage?
It all starts with the ingredients, right? So for starters, we don't use any sort of lab made chemicals in any sort of way, shape, or form. So, and the honey that we get, like, you can't produce honey with machines. You can't use any sort of a pesticide. To make honey, you have to have just a person who helps maintain this little colony of bugs. Sometimes it's easy to not think of a bee as a bug, but that's all it is like you're just got a little colony of bugs. And to do that, it takes, human hands. So you never have, the impact of robots or whatever taking over that job. And in the sense of you never have big farm equipment that has to be running, for collecting grain. It takes a whole lot of gasoline to collect grain. It takes no gasoline to collect honey.
Yeah, short of like the bed of a truck to go grab the beehives, in the bigger operations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no tractors, no heavy equipment running
Nothing
through the fields.
like that.
And then you can move to, fertilizers and pesticides and those kind of things. We don't want
none of that.
So you can have organic grain and not have any of that. But I mean, honestly,
it's hard.
I was in the industry. It's hard. Yeah,
and it's expensive.
Real hard. Well, that's the biggest hard part about it. Yeah,
it's expensive, and it's because they lose so much more. You're losing 4 grains for every one that actually comes out. So you have to account for that somewhere, and it comes out in the cost of things.
Yeah. So fertilizers, pesticides, and land mass. The bees. The bees are definitely going to these agricultural areas, but they're not creating that agricultural area. The footprint is literally the size of the beehives.
It takes a lot of grapes too to make some wine. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like when you start thinking about how much space it takes, and then you have a water usage as well on top of that.
Yeah, the water is a huge thing, not only in the production of the grain and stuff like that. And I'm not going to be blind and say that, the honey to be produced doesn't go to agricultural areas. And so it's an indirect thing that we need. For orange blossom honey, we need those oranges.
We need it more for the beekeepers though than for the pollination of those things, absolutely. But a lot of like the big industrial pollinating that goes on, like in the almonds, they don't even get any honey out of that. The benefit of a beekeeper taking his bees to an almond field is the payment. Rubbing my fingers together. I don't even know why I bothered to move my hand for something that nobody can see to make strange noises.
I can see it. We're communicating together. We need visual cues.
Yeah.
Here, how about this one?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
He's got something in his nose that itches. Do you need help? I have little fingers.
Hey, you can pick your nose. You can pick your friends. All right.
And if your friends are sleeping, you can pick your friend's nose.
And then so also what I was going to say is not just in the water usage for the agriculture for grain or grapes or corn or whatever, if you're making rye whiskey, bourbon, that kind of thing. I've been on both sides. I've been in a brewery, brewing, hundreds of batches, and I've been now here experiencing mead being made, and the use of water here is way, way, way less than in a brew house. In a brew house, you've got not only water making the product, but you've got cleanup, and there's a lot of water that goes in cleanup as well. And I feel I'm not negatizing it. I hope not. Yeah, and runoff and stuff like that. I guess I'm trying to focus on the positive that we don't use that much water.
Very little water use.
And a lot of the breweries use, they'll.
What would you say, I'd say per glass of mead, like per 6-ounce glass
Sounds
of mead?
Sounds like a hard question coming up.
I know. I think I can actually... I think per 6-ounce glass of mead, as far as like production goes, and I'm including all of the cleaning of everything, because I'm just going off of the main water thing that we have here that measures the gallons. It's named for something like that, probably. But I think it's about a 1-to-1. So for every 6 ounces of mead, it essentially takes 12 ounces of water in the production to get there. And 6 of those 12 ounces are the finished product.
Okay.
And the other 6 would be, setup, cleaning, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Even mopping the floor. That includes all the water we use for mopping the floor, everything else. So full production need for getting a 6-ounce glass of mead is 12 ounces of water, which is pretty minimal.
That is, no, absolutely. And that's a huge non-impact. And to kind of bring us backward, we all of a sudden just start talking about, ecological things in mead, which is great. But that means that there's less impact on different ecosystems, that, the runoff of water in rivers, all the different things that can happen in our playgrounds, our outdoor and recreational playgrounds, including gas usage, smoke, smog, pollutants, nitrates,
all that junk
in the
we
air.
breathe in all the time.
Yeah. So that's kind of why, you brought that up. You see an empty glass and you're about to throw it. Oh my gosh, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, no fair. You get to throw right-handed.
I know.
Actually, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
I was pouring coffee with my left hand, and I was like, it's a good brain practice, a good brain training.
Just to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Your brain gets into routines. It's good to throw your brain for a loop.
Yeah.
Try to put your belt on the other direction than you normally do. It hurts the first time you do it. Your brain's like, no, what are you doing?
Seriously, have you ever
We
tried
already
brushing?
learned it the other way.
You ever tried brushing your teeth with your left hand?
Oh, yeah.
You feel it's like throwing a
killed
ball.
myself.
It's like, yeah.
I nearly jammed
Honey,
my toothbrush into my neck.
Evan's brushing his teeth, and his wife has to come in with a stitch kit.
Yeah. Dang. Not again.
So I think that's a great, you went really, really deep on that, and really kind of holistic about the approach to why it's good as an adventure partner, because it takes a little bit better care of our adventure. I keep calling them playgrounds, recreational areas. So
Yeah, they are. They are playgrounds.
that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Howdy, everybody. Just wanted to take a second here and say thank you for listening in to the Meadcast once again. Really appreciate it. And we are always looking for ideas and comments and show suggestions from you guys. So if you have any of those, definitely hit us up with them. We'd love to hear about your ideas and thoughts. You can email me, nick@drinkinghornmeadery.com, or of course you can hit us up on any of our socials, Instagram or Facebook, and we'll find it and probably turn it into a show. All right, now for the next little segment. Cool. Another reason?
Well, you don't feel like crap the next day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
We when we went and did our little, we finally got away for a weekend and climbed on a little rock, and we brought a keg of mead with the two of us.
Yes. A little keg.
Just a little baby one.
A little
2-gallon keg.
Yeah, 2-gallon keg.
Yep.
Yeah, we drove out to the middle of the desert to go climb Courthouse Rock down in, the desert in the wintertime is absolutely gorgeous. And so went out there to camp out and to do this climb the next day. We got there right about sunset-ish, got our fire going, and tapped the keg. I'm not going to... There's different rules supposedly, out on dirt roads, but tap the keg.
As soon as we were free of the vehicle, and the vehicle was in a full off and parked position.
Absolutely, yep. Threw the keys out in the middle of the desert and tapped the keg. And
Still haven't found the keys.
I'm making it sound like we did something bad. We didn't. But we tapped the keg. We started drinking. We had our dinner. Oh, actually, we'll talk about the dinner in a second too, because that's another great thing I like about outdoors and Mead.
Pairings on the fire.
Yeah, and we drank a good bit. I mean, we were relaxed. It was beautiful sunset. We were happy. We're camping.
It was nice.
Just two dudes around a fire, cuddling. hanging out
With our clothes on, promise.
Yeah, I had socks on.
Yeah. Those are clothes.
That's plural clothing.
I only had one sock.
Oh, hey,
Whoa, that's too much.
Anthony
That's too
Kiedis
much.
style. If anyone out there gets my Anthony Kiedis one sock reference,
I didn't even get it.
then good on you.
Now
You know
I'm
who
gonna have
that
to
is,
write
right?
it down, and then I'm gonna look it up later.
Yeah. Well, I won't even explain it. So, so I definitely had a good amount of mead, and so and I think you did too. We went to sleep.
I had a nip or two.
Yeah, we had our little mead session, and the next day we had a big old rock to climb. Multi-pitch. You go up the rope, you set up an anchor. You go up the rope, you set up an anchor. We went up about 500 feet or so, maybe actually a little bit more.
Nick pretty much soloed like most of it. I'm not as experienced as Nick is at the climbings, so I was following. Nick
Doesn't
was
take
leading.
experience not to put gear in and just climb up a rock.
Yeah, that one took no experience. That's true.
It's an interesting climb. It's very low grade.
I don't even know how to set anchors. There's nothing to put them in.
Yeah, yeah. I was just putting
Where
them in
am
for
I?
funsies.
I'm not going to put gear anywhere here.
Yeah, but it was a big day ahead.
It was,
and we drank a lot of alcohol, a decent
okay amount, a fair amount,
and woke up and I was a little worried.
Legally responsible for the word fair.
Yeah, I was a little worried about how it was going to go when I.
But we woke up feeling great.
Yeah,
great, like $1 million.
Yeah, slugged some water, put some food in our bellies, and I didn't think about it the rest of the day.
He makes it sound so much faster. We had like the most relaxed morning ever, those two. We scrambled eggs and had burritos camping. Eggs are never a quick morning, No, it was fantastic. But we woke up and felt great. And I think there's a lot of properties, to kind of not justify it, not verify it, but there's a lot of properties that kind of support what we feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, we kind of talked about this on Why Mead, but yeah, it is a simple drink, and your body appreciates that.
It does. So, what gives you a hangover, Nick? I think we should talk about some of the aspects.
Usually.
Yeah, right. Rum usually.
Oh, dark rum.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. No, so hangovers are a couple things. Dehydration, I think, is the one that people mostly go to.
It is paramount.
Yeah.
I think it's like the biggest factor of all of these. So, no matter what you do, you should do this little thing. It's called drink a cup of water after every other drink or something like that.
1 and 1.
Yeah, you'll feel 1,000,000 times better the next day. And you won't drink as much because your belly's all full of water and stuff like that. It helps out in a lot of directions. So I highly recommend everyone mix some water in there.
Man, when I do that 1 to 1, I'll get done with my glass of mead and I'll be like, oh, I got to drink water now. And I'll fill up my water and I'll drink it so fast just so I get back to the
right?
mead.
Yeah, you just slug it. Yeah, you just slug that water down. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. So dehydration is definitely one factor, but another big factor that not a whole lot of people know about, unless you listen to our Meadcast episode. Oh, I'm Nick Irvin.
Oh man, and I'm still Evan Anderson.
And welcome to the Drinking Corn Meadcast.
Meadcast. We're gonna clip that.
Yeah, and I'll have to review it because I'm pretty sure I said drinking corn.
Nice. Do you want to try it again?
I'm Nick Irvin.
And I'm Evan Anderson.
And you're listening to the Drinking Horn Meadcast.
Meadcast.
Yeah. So what I was saying is another thing besides dehydration is what's in your beverage. And the more stuff, we'll just call it stuff, and there's a fancy name for it, congeners.
Just think of your body as a filter.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big blobby filter.
Yeah, we're like a donut.
Yeah, with a very long hole.
Yeah, we're like a long hole donut. It's just a weird thing to think about.
Long hole donut,
That, like,
don't hold me down.
What I consider my insides are actually like still the outside, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, we're like a noodle.
Yeah.
Like a rotini.
Ooh. But like a busty rotini, you know what I mean? Like we're thick. I got a tiny little hole and real thick meats.
Heyo. Oh my God. So congeners, yeah, we're like a filter. Oh, Lefty, here we go. Oh wait, I should fill mine up
Yeah,
first.
you should fill your first. You learned your lesson from me.
Yeah, I often do, teacher, sensei.
Oh, watch me make a mistake.
The mistake was me getting these tiny glasses for us to drink out of.
I feel like I'm
How
drinking
many ounces
faster. I
do
feel
you
like I'm
think that
drinking
is?
faster because of the tiny
3
glass.
ounces?
I don't know.
I think I've only got like 2 ounces. Okay,
I think so. Mine's a little larger.
One hand?
Yeah. Just kidding.
God, thank
Always
God.
2 hands with a mead bottle.
Yeah.
Kind of a madman do I look like?
For the 18th time, congeners. So your body is like a filter, and the more stuff that you try to put through that filter, the more it has a chance to get clogged and it has to clean itself up, and it's a little harder. So
Your body's a machine and it don't operate well with a clogged filter.
no, nothing really does. Yeah. So the more simple to drink, the easier it is on your body. It doesn't have to, break down the chemicals and create other chemicals that cause these nauseas and headaches and stuff like that. So anyway, just you can look all that stuff up. But mead is a simple drink. It's honey, water, yeast, and then whatever fruit juice we put in it. And that being said, your body's just kind of happier with it. Now, I'm not saying you slug down, 2 liters of mead and you're not going to wake up with a wicked headache and hangover.
Oh, you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, you can do it. Trust us.
Trust us. Although it's often the bottle of whiskey after all the mead that I don't even remember the next day that might have actually gotten me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. So simple drink means less of a hangover, which means if you've got, miles to hike or paddle or climb, then, you need an early start and you need a good start. So you have a pretty decent chance after drinking mead around the campfire of getting going.
Mm-hmm. Waking up, feeling pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see what else we got here.
What's your, right around here? Actually, I was going to try to play it off as like my own coy question, and I realized that would have discredited somebody, but I want to hear about your mead hike pairing here for Flagstaff. Are we there yet?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Taste of AZ chimed in on one of our comments on our Instagram page because I asked people for some comments, questions, stories, and we've got a couple more little stories and stuff to go later on. But Taste of AZ, Eric Walters asked, actually, I don't know if it's Eric. It may have been his...
May have been Luke.
Yeah, it may have been his partner, Luke, that asked this. But anyway, they asked...
He's your brother from another mother.
He does
They've
have...
got a last name that's almost the exact same, but there's a difference of an E.
I know. And my E is super confusing.
It is.
Makes people think Irvine.
Oh, it hurts my head.
Yeah. So they asked us to give a Flagstaff hike and mead pairing. They're down in the valley and they come up to recreate, and they wanted to know what we would pair with what trail. So I thought that was awesome.
I bet you have hiked every at least named trail within 50 miles of Flagstaff. Yeah.
I know that's not true, but it's probably pretty close.
It's probably
because
pretty
there's some obscure crap out there.
Yeah, there's a lot
up on Eldon.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've ever done Carrot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
it's right next to a road.
Yeah. Well, but it goes straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never wanted to. I've driven right past it on the dirt
Ginger.
road.
There's Kentucky Waterfall. Yeah. I think I've done a lot.
But what would be your favorite for a mead hike?
I would say, and I kind of went with a gentle kind of thing, not like some big old huge hike. So I think if I had mead in hand and or in backpack or whatever, I would love to time it to have a sunset kind of hike, maybe an hour before sunset, so you roll into sunset up on Campbell Mesa. And
oh yeah,
it's flat. It's pretty level for around here, which is actually kind of hard to find a nice level trail. Yeah. A nice level meander around Campbell Mesa. There's lots of different loops. There's like a half-mile loop. There's a mile loop. There's a 3-mile loop. You can do all these different loops. And I think that'd be nice. And what I was thinking would pair nice because of that simple, flat, nice, gentle kind of hike, what do you think I would pair with that?
I feel like you're going to go traditional.
I'm going to go traditional. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. A nice bottle of just honey, yeast, and water, and a nice stroll along Campbell Mesa.
I like that. And it's very doable. Mine's not going to be as doable
Yeah.
just because the mead is no longer available.
Oh.
So I'm just teasing everyone
Aw.
hard.
Guess what's great and you can't have it.
So I think a little snowshoe up, our favorite snowy mountain there. I don't like to go all the way to the top usually with the evening snowshoe. I haven't done it in a long time, partly because it's become more difficult with all the permitting and everything. But like going up Humphreys up there and
Snowshoeing
snowshoeing
Humphreys.
up it,
That
and
is
then
not
skiing,
a gentle
and then
thing.
skiing down.
Oh my gosh. That sounds
It is
awesome.
gentle, but so in between going up and down, you drink, well, preferably you split with a friend, a bottle of Othror.
Oh, what?
Some of that 17% barrel-aged mead that we made, and there was like only 150 bottles of it or something, so sorry, 211. Whoa, that was weird. That number came right in, and that's
Yeah.
100% right, I'm sure of it.
Wow, nice.
So, 211 bottles of it. And so there's most of everyone out there that didn't get to try it. But that's okay, because you know what's coming up before too long here. I mean, it's still a couple months, possibly. Month, 2 months.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yes! How did you know? Do you have a calendar, too?
Yeah.
No, our barrel-aged meads.
Yes. People are going to love hearing this.
Yeah, we have a pretty micro barrel program.
Yeah.
What's smaller
Nano.
than micro? Yeah, nano. There we go. We have a nano barrel
We
program.
have a carbon fiber barrel program.
It's at least 110 gallons of. Yeah, that's about it. Like it's so when the barrel stuff comes out, it moves pretty quickly.
Yeah, 3 barrels. And so why are you bringing this up?
Because that's what I would want to drink in between going up and down. And I was bringing up the barrels because of our barrels that are coming out at the end of, I don't know, maybe March.
Ooh, that's
If you're
what I was
listening to
waiting for.
this, everybody gets kind of the sneak little bit. It's not
Yeah.
even maybe March. It is the end of March. It's a set date at this point. We're ready. We're rocking and rolling. We want everybody to drink these.
Yeah, and we have a bulldog.
Yeah.
So happy. Yes, I'm so excited
I wish we had
about
a little
these
bulldog
barrels.
puppy too.
Maybe we'll rent one.
I got
Can
a
we?
little, I
If
got a
anyone
little
out
puppy
there,
fever. I got a little puppy fever.
yeah, puppy fever. It's the greatest thing, puppy fever. Now you got a thing, puppy fever. It's a little puppy fever. It's not a guppy.
Oh, I
Wow,
love guppies
that was Probably the
too.
worst rap I've ever done.
I don't think that was a rap, bro.
No, it wasn't. It was a jingle. So we, I can
We're
just
jingle
hear
makers.
people like we're losing them left. and
Click,
right.
click,
No,
click.
but we got them back with the Othror and the barrel age. So yeah, I'm sure there's bottles out there that people still have of the Othror, which
There
was
might be
our
a
first
few.
barrel aged.
And, we've had a lot of our our diehard fans sending us pictures of them opening their last ones recently. So it's
Yeah,
the time is nigh. But
I-
that's my favorite hike right
What a
there. I think
difference.
as like hike paired with mead, like that's my jam.
what a difference are the two things we came up with. Mine is so simple and yours is so
I
hardcore.
went big. I
Yeah,
went big.
I want yours.
Yeah, that's kind of the
Actually-
opposite of us. Because like honestly, like if you just stuck Nick and I each out in the woods, like Nick would find something crazy to do. And I would probably like go flip over rocks and like mosey around and like dig through some rubbish piles. Like
Maybe
So
there's
that's kinda
something,
funny.
yeah, something to be said, some psychology about that. But yeah, thanks Eric or Luke for that question.
yeah,
Love
thank
it.
you.
We absolutely love
Thank
it.
you, Tap That AZ.
Yeah, yeah.
And thank
Or
you
I
to
think-
your magazine as well.
Yeah, Taste of AZ.
Oh, and I butchered that right
No,
there.
you didn't because well, they both he runs
know.
both of they
I
run
know.
both of them. Tap of AZ and Taste That Arizona. Taste That Arizona.
Oh, Nick butchered it worse than I did.
Yeah. Yeah, these tiny glasses are killing me, bro. So thanks for the suggestion there. So if you guys ever have any questions or thoughts or comments, absolutely hit us up. Especially if you have ideas for future Meadcasts. Like I think it'd be cool if you guys talked about this, and if we have enough of a good idea and a heads up, we could even bring in we could go and find some experts in that field and have them on. Or,
Yeah, we
or
love
talk to
you
them.
guys having questions and participating. It makes it more fun. It makes it more interesting. And sometimes Nick and I are just out of touch with the populace. I tell you what,
Sometimes, especially now.
I haven't touched anybody.
All right. You better not have. All right. So another thing that I definitely find, and this has transitioned for me, this aspect of outdoor adventure and alcoholic beverages, but when I am out backpacking multiple days and weight of my bag becomes a thing to think about, I start thinking about my alcohol, the weight that it will contribute. And therefore I used to, and I still throw a little flask in there, but whiskey was always my go-to backpacking beverage.
Mead kind of only falls in the middle ground on this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which I'm going to say is possibly a good thing, but I'll talk about that.
I do kind of agree. Yeah, I do kind of agree, but it's definitely a middle ground. You know, if you're looking for the absolute best, lightest weight for the intoxication kind of beverage, and we talk a lot about the intoxication factors, and it's not because like drinking is all about getting wasted by any means. We don't think you should. Like, I tend to cap myself off after 2 or 3 drinks because it's just, at that point, I really don't need any more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can certainly drink more, of course, but, like, I don't need any more. It doesn't heighten the effect. It doesn't heighten the fun any further after that point. In fact, you know, you overdo it and you can be a detriment to the own fun that you're having or other people's fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it's... I'm not too sure why I got into that. I had to get up on my soapbox for just a second, make me feel better.
Well, we're talking about the amount of alcohol needed, and here comes another Mead bottle throw brought to you by...
The amount of alcohol needed is being thrown.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
That one's getting a little further. Yeah, getting further from you.
Yeah. All right. Oh, man. There we go. So, yeah, and so... when you're out there and you are worried about weight, it's not about getting the biggest amount of booze you can. It's about getting the lightest booze you can. So short of bringing a tiny canister of glue that you could sniff.
That's probably the best weight for buzz ratio, for sure.
Yeah, or if you know the native plants that you can like chew on.
If you're out here in the Southwest, just start munching on things. I'm just kidding. Really, don't do that.
No.
You're going to have a bad day.
Yeah. But, so grain alcohol, and then you got your spirits, which are, you know, whiskey's usually somewhere 40-45%, somewhere around there. But what I was kind of thinking, I do enjoy whiskey straight. I definitely enjoy that, but not everybody does. You know, you take straight vodka out there, and that's more like just get drunk for drunk's sake kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're drinking straight vodka, it's definitely like not for the flavor.
No, I don't care how many times they filtered 82 times. Okay,
still
it's
tastes
still
like
just
vodka.
alcohol.
Yeah.
So to then go the opposite direction, the heaviest you could do would be like a session beer. Like, you know, like 4% beer. You're carrying cans that are just like going to weigh you down if you want any kind of like feeling from it.
Truth. I have seen guys backpack 30 packs like 20 miles into a place.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But why?
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather replace that with like
a liter
Sour
of Mead.
Patch Kids.
Oh, yes. A liter of Mead and 10 bags of Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, it would be the equivalent.
If you have children and you like to you want to take them backpacking or hiking, I highly recommend bringing a bag of candy. It actually works on adults too, but that little sugar burst will help get them through kind of whatever they need to get through. So it's like taking that, you know, when grandma comes over and feeds your kid way too much damn sugar, it's sort of like taking that and using it to your advantage. And they burn out at the end of it. Do not get me wrong. But I got an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old to hike up the side of the Grand Canyon carrying their weight and everything. And I just kept feeding them sugar. It's great.
Here you go. Here you go.
They got to the top and they passed out almost instantly.
Yeah, as most people do.
Yeah.
Whether or not you are coming off of a sugar rush or not, you get to the top of Grand Canyon, you're like,
anybody want to take a nap?
Yeah. So I think that middle ground, what I was saying, why I thought that was, you know, really kind of cool is that with 13% mead, and you know, meads run the gamut of their session meads too and all that stuff, but ours is 13%. So if I fill up a little flask of mead, it's not going to be as much alcohol as whiskey, but it's going to be a pleasure to drink, and it's going to still give you that nice, you know, into the day happy hour. And so the weight to alcohol ratio of mead, I think, is in a really, really good spot. And at least that's how I've experienced it. And so, just another great adventure partner. I think 13% is a nice, good sweet spot. If you can grab maybe, I don't know, you might even mix a little. Maybe I'd take metheglin mead and put like a little shot of whiskey in it too.
Oh man, mead is such a great cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah, you can mix up a cocktail in one of those plastic lightweight flasks if you're going backpacking for a couple of days.
You better have a big old flask.
Should we talk about our backpacking experience with Mead?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
I think that's one of my favorites. I would love to have done more. You know what I mean?
On that trip?
Yeah, just in general, or just more with Darren, just the whole thing. You know, I would have loved to have done more of the CDT with him.
Yeah.
Or any of the PCT or anything like that.
Yeah, still there.
But our good buddy, Darren Campbell, he went and he hiked the PCT either last year or the year before, and then last year in 2020 he hiked the CDT. What a heck of a year to be out in the woods for 6 months. You know, it's the best year ever to be out in the woods for 6 months.
Yeah. So we joined him for a couple of days, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but we joined
Mexico to Canada on both trips. Like, you're not talking like a chunk of it. No, my goodness, I would love that, but it's kind of hard to take off 6 months right now.
Yeah, but we joined him on his country to country or border to border journey for a couple of days, and we brought with us Mead, and so we brought a lot of Mead, a good amount of Mead, and so instead of bringing bottles of it,
not enough Mead as it turns out.
Yeah, rarely is, especially with an Irishman.
Yeah, that's like you gotta multiply by 2 instantly. Whatever you thought you were bringing, multiply by 2.
Yeah, and so that can get kind of heavy with glass. And so instead, what you had the brilliant idea is to fill a plastic platypus bladder, multiple bladders, lightweight plastic bladders with the Mead. And oh my God, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. You've now taken the packaging and made it super light.
We even took carbonated ones with us on that trip.
Oh, yeah.
And those platypus actually held up with the carbonation, so that when we were drinking it, even like 2 or 3 days later, after pouring it into a platypus, we were able to drink it with bubbles.
Yeah. We are not sponsored by Platypus, but if
Platypus want to reach out, give us some free Mead sacks, hit us up.
We will take them into some amazing places and give you good pictures.
Yeah, we'll take your sacks.
We will abuse them.
We'll put them through the test.
We'll love them and abuse them.
I always thought I should have been a gear tester.
You definitely should.
I beat the hell out of anything I put my hands on. It's just like...
Yeah, you beat the hell out of your hands, too.
Yeah, those two.
Yeah, so that was a great, fun adventure with Mead. I think it's something tasty. It's a nice, most of our stuff, a lot of our stuff is on the drier side, but it's still honey based. And so that campfire around at the end of a day, having that little, it's almost like it hits your brain in a different way when you drink Mead. Well, it does. The buzz is absolutely different. But that kind of sweet tinge, like I love an IPA, but at the end of a hard hike, I'm actually going to say I don't know, I'd reach for a traditional Mead or a Metheglin or a lemon ginger Mead or something like that.
Ooh, the lemon ginger that's the best hiking Mead we have, I think.
Oh, that passion fruit.
You like the passion fruit for it with a little bite.
Yeah, but I would still go lemon ginger. That's a good one. Which one would you pick? Quick, you got 2 seconds.
Lemon ginger.
Like lemon ginger, yeah.
Boom.
Yep. I think Darren would pick America.
I like the citrus, right? Mm-hmm. You bring enough Mead on a boat trip to England 400 years ago, and you would not end up with your teeth falling
scurvy. I was like, where are you going with this?
A little vitamin C.
Yeah.
Well, I think we use all real fruit, and it's all good raw honey. So I think there's a lot to be said for the ingredients you put into something and how you end up feeling afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna go to our next. Actually, let's throw a story in.
Yeah, let's listen.
So we got a voicemail. By the way, if you guys want to leave us a voicemail ever, I don't care. Drunk dial us, please. Please drunk dial us.
Please. Let us know in there if you don't want us to play you on the Meadcast, and we won't put your voice on there. Just let us know what you want done with your recording.
Yeah, because I guess if you drunk, leave us a message like, well, we'll use our discretion.
We'll give you a call back. We'll double check. Yeah. We'll double check.
Yeah. So
drunk dial us, please.
But definitely drunk dial us. Absolutely. So we asked people to leave a message on our voicemail specific for the Meadcast, which is speakpipe like speaking, and a pipe, like a plumbing pipe. Speakpipe.com/drinkinghorn.
Yeah, like a plumbing pipe.
Like a plumbing pipe. And you can leave a voicemail there. It's 90 seconds. So we asked for that. We got 2 people giving us voicemails. So let's listen to this. One's a story. I can't wait to hear this. We haven't heard it yet.
No, I'm excited for both these. I haven't heard any of them yet. I'm very excited.
Yeah, so this is from Ed Moss, who is a great Grand Canyon dude and a Mead lover for sure.
An amazing photographer. And he's got a kind of long list of accolades.
Yeah, and one of them I like is cool guy.
Yeah. That's the best one.
He is a cool guy.
Yeah, he is a cool guy.
All right, let's listen to Ed Moss's story.
Hey, Nick and Drinking Horn, this is Ed. I got a story for you. So, we got a late start for a Grand Canyon backpacking trip a couple years ago. We had planned to loop New Hants to Tanner through the Escalante route. We arrived at the trailhead sometime right around sunset. It was getting dark quickly. Our bags were way too heavy, and we knew we were bringing way more than enough booze for 2 people for just a couple days. There had been storms nearby in the area, and the river was running red, so we packed extra water so we could avoid having to add a couple extra steps for filtering water down at the river. But after an hour of hiking, we started smelling something strange, and we couldn't figure out what it was until we stopped for a break. My buddy that I was with, he slipped almost immediately after the descent began down New Hants. We stopped later for a break, and we realized his bag was soaking wet. And he started to unpack everything, and he had brought 2 full bags of wine to surprise me for my birthday, which is way more than enough wine for 2 people. So we soon realized this was an issue because we had nothing to put the wine in, to salvage the wine. So once we realized that he had spilled a bunch of wine, popped the bags, we tried to salvage it by dumping the extra water that we brought to be ready at camp. So we filled up a multi-liter MSR drum of the wine that we could salvage, and then we carried the broken bags and sipped on them as we descended in the dark down New Hants under the new moon. So it was a pretty miserable and brutal hike, but then you introduce all of that wine. We had a lot more bumps and bruises and scrapes when we arrived at camp much later than we had originally planned. Others of sounder minds probably would have chalked the wine up as a loss, but we decided to start the birthday celebration a little early, which made for a much worse descent. And leave no trace, I guess, includes spilled wine. Anyway, we got to the river really late, and we weren't feeling our best the next day for obvious reasons. And we never made it to Tanner. We ended up laying over and hiking out the next day. But the moral of the story is don't bring cheap bags of wine. Bring Drinking Horn Mead. See you guys later.
Oh, man.
I've been there.
Oh, yeah?
Just
Wait, on the New Hants Escalante?
I have. Well, I've been on that trail before, for sure.
Yeah. But you've been in that situation?
Definitely, where you end up tearing open a bag of wine. Do you remember our San Juan trip?
Oh, yeah.
I reused the platypus. They're supposed to be super reusable, and I did the same thing. I was like, man, carbonated stuff works so well on the backpacking trip. Well, I'm going to bring some more for this. And I stuffed it in there and then threw it inside of my Hefe kayak, and it didn't... Those started leaking, too.
Yeah.
So we only lost like maybe a half a liter out of 4 liters, I think.
I wonder how much Ed lost and how much they got into their bodies
Soaked.
Instead.
Right.
Or like
you can always
backpack.
drink it out of the clothing that it soaks into.
Just wring it out into each other's mouths.
You just hold your little sleeping bag all soaked in booze and just suck it out of the sleeping bag.
Oh, I hope the sleeping bags weren't wet. Although, sounds like that was a great sound. Yeah. Sounds like by the time they got down there, it doesn't matter what your sleeping conditions are, you're going to pass out.
Yeah, you don't care.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, waking up the next morning after a bunch of cheap wine.
Hiking out. I don't know if I've ever been like really hungover and had to hike out of the canyon, which is amazing to say.
No,
But-
I have.
Oh, I'm sure you have.
For sure.
But Ed, that is awesome. That great story. I love it.
I do. I love it.
I love that it was your birthday and it was a surprise, and the surprise was even bigger than you thought it was going to be.
Right? And like you said, like you end up more wounded by the time you make it to wherever you're going.
That was hilarious.
But you don't even care. It doesn't matter. You're having a good time.
Oh, in the dark, new moon, so no
no
light,
light.
and
Pitch black.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they'd have headlamps, so it didn't sound
Yeah.
like they were. I mean, well, I guess they were going for an
It's not
overnight.
Vanta black, but it's
No, but it's stumbly black for
Yeah.
sure when you're drunk and heading down. I mean, New Hants is not a maintained trail either.
no,
Like-
no. It's maintained by people like foot traffic,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot. Like
No, and
it's-
that thing
it's
gets destroyed.
couple hundred a year.
By landslides a couple times too. So, well, thank you, Ed. So happy that you sent in that voicemail. I love this little voicemail thing. I want to hear more from people. Yeah. So let's jump back into one more topic, at least one more for today's discussion. And I think this is actually something I'd like to look into and really delve into more than I have already. Honey has been used forever, not only for its sweetener side of it, but also its health properties and benefits. And so honey has been used to like slathering it on wounds because of its antimicrobial properties.
Antifungal. It's
antibiotic, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's even more like it's even more than It's anti a lot of things, which is
It kills bad stuff.
it's the ultimate hipster.
Yeah, it's anti everything.
Well,
That's
even
hilarious.
in our modern medicine, which sometimes likes to ignore previous medicines, they use it now. It's approved and it's used in on burn victims, especially.
Yeah.
They have honey pads that is just like a surgically sterile pad that basically has honey smeared on it, and they cover it on the burns. And I'm talking when you've got third-degree burns.
Not
over
like, ouch, I
15
grabbed a hot pan.
huge skin sloughing burns over chunks of your body. But they use honey,
Sloughing.
and it's made a huge difference. Huge difference.
Nice. So athletically, what honey is for, that's crazy too. I don't know. I guess what you just said kind of like hit me in
Honey's-
two phases about
It's magical, man.
burn wounds. Yeah. And one of the properties, the magical properties, we're not going to talk about all of them. We could. We already have probably. But is the anti-inflammatory properties. And I want to talk about that because in endurance sports or things that kind of last a long time, you build up a lot of inflammation. So if it's a run or say a kayak that you're like using your shoulders a lot.
Just ask my lower spine.
Yeah, mine too. What's left of it. Inflammation it's a good response by the body because it brings in healing chemicals, but
Yes.
I mean, we overdo it.
And it can notify you to problem areas. Right?
Yeah, for
like
sure.
That's
So-
part of the idea of that response is that then you are like, oh wow,
Yeah, you need to chill out, buddy.
my wrist doesn't have full movement anymore. Maybe I should.
Yeah. So inflammation. Oh God. Inflammation is an issue post workout, post athletic event, whatever. You're looking for things like recovery drinks or recovery activities to lower the inflammation. And honey has anti-inflammation properties. So I remember the past, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, people talking about beers being a really good recovery beverage. It's got the right protein to carbohydrate ratio, and that's fine, but it also has a lot of things that can cause your body to start getting a little inflamed. Mead, on the other hand, I think, in my personal biased opinion, mead, having that honey and the simplicity of the drink is going to help a little bit. Now, I'm not saying like go slug a half liter after doing something and you'll feel fine, but I do believe in that anti-inflammatory property of honey helping to recover your muscles after a strenuous thing. If nothing else, I think it's the best option for alcohol consumption after an athletic event.
Absolutely. Well, and the honey itself, like it's got lots of things that are in the mead, in the finished product, that are. It's kind of the same with the hangover, right? Like there is potassium in the mead. There is, there's a little bit of sugar left in the mead. There's all these things that can help with bodily recovery.
Yeah. 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 In fact, I found a study that said natural honey, go listen to our podcast about fake honey.
Yeah.
But natural honey lowers plasma prostaglandins. Damn it. I practiced that yesterday and plasma prostaglandins. This stuff, it lowers this stuff. Concentrations in normal individuals, which lowers the inflammation reaction. And so, it was actually,
and that's
there's studies.
That's why Nick said the word natural honey. It's not necessarily a word that he would use on his own.
Yeah.
It's a stupid word.
Stupid words. But yeah, I think that's a big thing and something I do want to delve into a little bit more. I know after I did my, I don't have enough. I'm not gonna create my own study with myself and be like, go run 25 miles, drink beer, and then go run 25 miles and drink wine, and go run 25 miles and drink whiskey.
But you run those 25 miles anyway, so
I know, so I might as well.
Well. I'm gonna talk you into experimenting on yourself.
If anybody out there has any experience with post, athletic alcoholic beverages, let us know what your thoughts are.
Give us a jangle.
A jingle jangle morning, I come following you.
That's not rap either, bro.
But oh yeah, it is. No, it's not. Okay. Cool. So one other thing I just wanted to touch on, I guess that wasn't the last thing, is the fact that our mead is 100% gluten-free.
100%.
Nice. It's not gluten reduced.
No.
It's gluten-free. It never has any grains, never has any gluten in it.
Gluten reduced is another one of those words that's...
Yeah. I've got a big episode actually with the Repkas, both Repkas, on
gluten reduced,
Brew Trails, which is actually still out there. You can still listen to episodes of the Brew Trails.
Because Amanda is
hardcore,
right?
Like bad. Like she drinks half a beer and she doesn't feel good for 3 days.
That makes sense why Chris makes some of the best cider I've ever had.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. They used to be big beer heads, big craft beer heads when they lived in Colorado, and then she all of a sudden couldn't, it developed.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not. It's definitely a
human body's fascinating.
Right?
the guys that the woodworkers that eventually end up allergic to sawdust.
Oh, yeah.
It happens in a lot of professions where people end up becoming allergic to those things. And you think exposure over time, your body would get used to it, but I guess that's cases, just not right, but not in others, not in others.
Yeah.
I started to actually get a little bit of skin reactions to fish slime.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Towards the end of my fish biology career. 10 years of squeezing the fishes.
I'm guessing fish slime is a technical term.
Yeah. Super technical jargon.
So the reason I brought up gluten-free was not because I know and I don't believe, and I've actually seen no indication that a gluten-free diet helps athletic performance.
No.
But it will if you have a sensitivity to it.
Right.
So this... afterwards eating pasta or having gluten, you could get some bad reactions before or after athletics. So there's a lot of people who want to go gluten-free to improve their athletic performance. And for some it can if they have a sensitivity, but if you don't, then it's not going to improve it. But I think it's something to think about.
There's more and more people coming up with some sort of a sensitivity to it.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't want to get super deep into this. We've made you guys listen to us for long enough, and I've got a whole nother subject I still want to get into, which I'm glad that we're going to finish off a couple of bottles of mead before we start talking about this. But the way that genetically modified organisms are made is by using a chunk of virus to insert a certain genetic sequence into another genetic sequence. And so some of what they've found, and it's not super well proven, not super well studied by any means, needs some more research, is that what they're finding with some people is that they're not actually allergic to the gluten, but their body is having an allergic reaction, quite possibly to that chunk of virus that they used as the vehicle of insertion for that genetic whatever.
Yep.
And so that's, and so it's just, we don't, when people talk about long-term effects of things, messing with the genetics of something is There's some serious long-term possible effects that we have no understanding of. We like to think that since we cracked the genome and we can put a name on all the pieces in there, that we've figured it out, but that's ignorant.
No, we think there's
Ignorant might have been
I
a
used to
little harsh.
no. I used to talk to my students about actually both things. That specifically how they would use genes from fish in tomatoes to make them frost-proof. And people with fish allergies and sometimes would have problems. But I would talk to them about, think about on the wall, there's a fuse box and there's one lever on the outside on and off. You open up that fuse box and there's wires all over the place that can go different directions. So that's like how our bodies are. Just because of one gene is there are many different. What are we talking about right now? We're going into some crazy biology here. But
we've had a lot of
it's
comments
fascinating.
That our listeners do love hearing the sciencey stuff.
Yeah,
so.
it's fascinating. But yeah, the gluten-free thing, if you are looking for a beverage, that you have a small sensitivity or maybe a large sensitivity to.
Or maybe you just want to experiment and see if you have a sensitivity.
Exactly. See
Try
how
drinking
you
mead
feel.
for a couple weeks instead of beer and see how you feel.
Yep, because this is coming from a study here too. Returning to the questionnaire study, 80%, and again, questionnaire study of how many people, I don't know how great this science is, but 80% of the athletes who followed a gluten-free diet reported improved gastrointestinal symptoms, indicating they experienced some positive effects from eating non-gluten foods. I think there is something, what you just said before, that there is a lot of people who don't know that they're sensitive. And that sensitivity could be light, but it could make a difference.
And do you mean like grain sensitivity or the possibly viral sensitivity?
Oh,
like the
I was thinking the gluten. Yeah, the grain.
Right.
Or the
either direction,
grain.
right? Like it's a good one to go and experiment with yourself and just see how you feel.
Yeah, and then let us know.
Yeah, maybe we're wrong. Tell us we're wrong.
Yeah. I do have one more voicemail from Donny. So I think it's actually thanks Donny for the voicemail. Love it. It's not on topic, but I thought I'd throw it in here anyway.
Yeah. Let's get it in.
Yeah. So here is Donny over in North Carolina.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your buddy Donny here. I had a couple questions. First off, I was wondering if you guys have ever messed around with or have any plans for some spontaneously fermented mead. I think it would be really cool. As far as I know, it's a little more complicated than making a wild beer, but I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've done it before or plan to do it in the future. Besides that, I have a question for Nick. Hey, dude, when are you going to send me some freaking drinking horn to North Carolina?
Whatever, dude. We shipped to North Carolina. Oh, I need to get on. In fact, I've got a Post-it note with Donnie's address right there, because he got me into Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah. Scratch a little back.
Great little off-topic questions there about spontaneously fermented mead. I've got my thoughts on it, but what do you think?
My quick rundown is the only reason we haven't is because of watching Nick's previous experiments with wild fermentation. And you had a couple that turned out pretty tasty. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Beaver Creek one was pretty good.
They smell like garbage while they're fermenting.
They can, yeah.
Wild yeast, it's not like
literal
when you
garbage.
Walk, when you walk back into our warehouse and like it just like it smells like honey and like a little like kind of like a hint of bread. Yeah, it's delicious. It's delicious. When we used to have the tap room in here, people would always come in and be like, "Oh my gosh, it smells so good in here." And like I'm completely numbed out to it at this point. Like I don't smell it at all most of the time. Yeah. It's just like I probably smell like it. And I hope so.
Yeah.
Forget cologne. I smell like freaking fermenting mead.
You wish you did.
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
I know. I probably don't. I smell like terrible butt. But so that's the only reason that we haven't yet. But I really like the idea of it. And I'm always saying that we need to do it. And so we should really just jump on it one of these days. I mean, we'll start with a really tiny one. To do a wild fermentation, for anybody who doesn't know, all you really have to do is we make up a must, just a little honey and water mixture. And we take that up and we go stick it on a tree in the forest. And like you can try different places, right? Like you could try hanging one from my beard and seeing what you catch there. You could try hanging one in my backyard where the elk like to scratch their horns off on the trees like they're doing right now. We could try one there and you can get some elk yeast. Part of the problem that mead has with that, at least for us, is we like to ferment relatively high alcohol content. Most of the time when you're catching a wild yeast, it's not going to perform that well. You're going to be it's definitely going to be a session style mead, which is not a bad thing in any way, but you just have to be like prepared for that style of fermentation and that style of beverage, and make something that is fitting to that yeast. So that's kind of the caveat there, is that you're going to end up with lower alcohol, most likely. That's not 100% though. I mean, the original yeast that we use now to get to, 20% or more alcohol content was also originally a wild yeast. So there's, there's some natural selection that we can do as humans, and play our bean game, as I like to think of it, just like our natural, not our unnatural selection
Artificial.
of us. Yes. Artificial. Damn, Mead. You got all my words gone.
Yeah. Good, dude, that's awesome. I was thinking I'm all hoity-toity because I've dealt with spontaneous fermentations and stuff like that before, but you just hit 2 of my 3 things that I was going to talk about with like mead and spontaneous.
What's number 3? Get us number 3.
Well, let me review 1 and 2 real fast. I think you said. So number 1, well, not numbered, they're not in order, but one thing to worry about with mead is, and this is kind of what you said, you're talking about the smell, but mead is a very simple drink, and so you can't hide what the yeast is going to do to your drink. What we use is a very, very clean yeast. So it could be a good thing if what you happen to catch randomly out in the open is a good flavored yeast, but I feel like other beverages, like, I don't know, maybe there's spontaneous wine, but like beer is like really, that's the lambic style, the spontaneous. There's a lot of things playing in there that can kind of, I don't want to use like hide anything bad from the yeast, but that's really what it does. So
no,
one
you
of the
can
things,
kick up that flavor, like, you can throw a bunch of hops in on something and totally like eliminate some weird off flavor from
or
the
it could work
fermentation.
well with that.
Yeah, or pair with it, and so it ends up being even better than before.
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking when I heard this, I actually heard this question a little bit before, was
Sneaky bastard.
I just love hearing Donnie's voice. Is the simplicity. You could run into some different issues there. Number 2, the alcohol tolerance of the yeast was something I thought about too, because a lot of the natural yeasts can't tolerate the alcohol that you want mead to be at. But I didn't even think about the session stuff, so you bringing that up was great.
Yeah.
And the third is
That was a weird noise.
creating a weird noise from Evan. What? The third is honestly, the price tag of a batch of mead is different than a price tag of a batch of beer. So doing a quote unquote experiment that has we'll call it 50-50 chance of coming out could be, something to think about.
Right.
Doesn't mean don't do it. But
Experimenting with like a gallon batch of like, what do you call beer before you pitch the yeast? Wort. So like using some wort and sticking it out there in a 1 gallon size, like that's kind of the go-to, is like a 1 gallon bucket or
to
like
capture.
Yeah. And you're not burning a whole lot of money.
No.
Like you do that with honey, and you're doing a 5 gallon batch, like you might burn up $200 in figuring this stuff out.
Yeah. Again, not meaning it shouldn't be done and
No,
couldn't be done.
and-
It's just something to think about.
And we will.
Nice. I love that I just heard that, and I love that it's recorded.
It'll be-
Wait,
I know,
are we
right?
recording? Oh, yes, we're recording.
Damn it. No, yeah, it'll just, it's a little ways out. We got a lot of things to think about. I would love for us to come out with the session mead at some point, and maybe that would be a beautiful way to do it. There's a lot of companies out there that will take a wild yeast that you capture and use and like, and they will actually propagate it and have it readily available for you whenever you want to order it. Now, is that wild at that point? We'll let people mull on it. I don't want us to answer it.
Okay.
Mull on that.
Like mold one.
Mull.
All right, cool. Thank you, Donnie, for that voicemail.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Donnie.
Yeah. Oh, and the second part of that about me sending you mead, I'll get it there, buddy. I'll get it there.
Scratch your back. Scratch your back.
Yeah. All right, you said there was one more thing you wanted to talk about.
Ooh, I do.
I'm a little scared.
I mean, only because it kind of makes my belly hurt, like a little bit, talking about it.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of envision it, you know what I mean? And it's
No, I don't. I don't know I literally don't know what you're about to talk about.
exploding bee dicks.
Okay, I kind of did know what you were I was just hoping maybe it was something else.
Nope.
Exploding bee endopenises.
No. I don't know. I had the endophallus.
Endophallus.
That doesn't quite sound right. Oh no, it is Indophallus. All right. So, but we're gonna start at the beginning of this. It's been a little while since we brought you guys any like brand new, fresh new bee news.
Bees in the news.
So, just for a little backstory here. So basically, in anything written about bees from the Victorian age up to about the 1970s, it was thought that queens mated with a single male. That was it. That was what everybody wrote. That's what they thought. I'm not too sure where they got that, because from what we're learning now, it's entirely wrong. I honestly think that's one of those religious influences.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they were promoting monogamy because of a religious...
Totally.
Yeah.
Anytime I see Victorian age, I'm assuming the church is up to some shit.
Not saying that monogamy in humans is wrong.
We're just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Back to the exploding bee Indophalluses.
Right. So I just find it interesting that like for possibly hundreds of years, like this is what we thought. And recently, and I'm not even talking 1970s. Some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is actually within like the last year or two that's come out. So anyway.
Recent.
Yeah, but just a little backstory here. So queen bee mating flights occur around 7 to 8 days after emergence. So we're talking about, it was an egg. They make the queen cell. The queen is formed inside of the cell into a larvae. And then the queen, they cap it off and she develops into a bee. And then she goes and spends the next few days kind of familiarizing herself with the hive and doing test flights. That's her big deal for those days. They start doing test flights. And then it can be as early as like 5 days or as late as like 15 or something like that. But like 7 to 8 days is about the average for when the queen starts actually going out to mate. And what we've found, and it's really interesting because like I said, we used to think it was one, right? And what we're learning, we were talking about it earlier, and I actually found another paper more recent that had even higher numbers on it.
Oh, boy.
Queen bees can mate with up to 50 drones.
Oy.
Yeah. And these are short flights. So when the queen...
In one flight?
Yeah, in one flight.
Ooh.
Possibly. Now, I don't think they necessarily know that because they were taking genetic data from larvae already in the hive. So it wasn't necessarily correlated to like number of flights kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But they have found that they take multiple flights as well. We didn't necessarily understand that initially either. They take multiple flights. We're relatively short. Everything I was reading in the studies is that a queen's mating flight will take less than half hour. So, I mean, pretty quick. But I mean, the copulation between males and females in bees is like, it's also extremely fast. Like explosively so. Uh-oh. Oh, zing. So the average number of drones that a queen mates with is 12. I found that stated in a lot of things. Can be as low as 1, can be as high as 50 or more. Pretty impressive. Jesus. And something else that I was finding is the success measured by like longevity of reign. So a beehive can last 40, 50 years if it's well taken care of and well done with. Yeah. But a queen lasts maybe 5 years at the longest. And this article, which was by some folks, Drs. Tarpey, Richard, and Grosinger from NCSU, from
Great
North
people,
Carolina State University. Oh, they're fantastic. We love them. I swear we know them personally. And what they were finding was that the success of a queen honeybee is directly correlated. Now, we're not saying related, directly correlated with the number of matings that queen has. Which is, it's pretty interesting. So like, and so when you think about this, like we had one hive of bees that I kept putting queens into and they just kept killing them. Right. So that's a piece of it, is like for the rest of the hive to accept this queen. So they raise her, she goes out and mates. If she only mates with one drone while she's out there and comes back and tries to start laying eggs, there's a half a chance that the workers are just going to kill her off.
Whoa.
Right.
Crazy.
Like you didn't mate with enough dudes out there. And it's not necessary. I mean, obviously, like as a biologist, I always want to go to like, genetic diversity, right? So it's just like, and what they were finding though, was that the more matings that the queen had, the more pheromones she produced. And as we've talked about previously, like a queen manages her hive, keeps her place on the throne. I'm putting that in air quotes because it's, she's more like a slave to the colony than a throne, you know what I mean? Than like a queen. Yeah. But she ends up keeping her place in the colony longer by mating with more bees. Direct, they follow the same line.
Cool.
So I just thought that was awfully interesting. And all of this is getting us into exploding bee dicks, right?
Oh, cover your children's ears or open them up because this is nature.
Yeah, this is just nature. We're going to be talking about endophalluses and, oh my gosh, the queen bee has a special organ for receiving semen. And like, it's pretty, actually, they're studying it right now because those queen bees that live for, I actually heard it on NPR. Oh, I was driving around earlier.
Oh my God.
It was really cool. just stealing NPR shit.
What?
And so what they were saying was that I got all excited and forgot about it.
The special sac area.
Oh yeah. So it's the ability to store semen, like, and the bees don't have refrigerators or deep freezers, right? Or
Not that we
anything
know
like
of.
that. Not that we know of. And so, ooh, tricksy devils. But so these queens are able to store essentially at room temperature inside of their body viable sperm for 5 years. We can't do that.
Whoa.
Like, we can't do that as humans. You know what I mean? Even with freezers and technology and all the rest of this shit, it don't last 5 years.
No? Oh,
No.
I haven't
So
looked
this
into
is,
that.
it's really interesting because they were talking about, we used to like imagine the seed bank that they have like up in Norway or whatever it is.
I thought seed bank was way different in this case.
No.
Yeah.
But
Underground seed bank.
It could end
Gotcha.
up as that kind of seed bank
Yeah.
where you're literally storing like eggs and sperm instead of like, it's like the seed bank, but for animals and bugs and everything
repopulate the
else.
human
Right.
civilization.
Because we don't pop out seeds that you can keep viable for 100 years in the right conditions, right?
Thank God.
We pop out little creatures, or we lay little eggs that creatures pop out of. I don't mean we as in humans. I'm talking animals versus plants.
Yeah.
And so if you had the ability to store sperm and ostensibly eggs for many years, you would end up like it's just brings a whole new level of science and preservation possibly and all these other things. So it's really cool.
Evan is super interested in this. In
I
fact,
love bee sex.
We're going to start a whole new podcast called
Bee sex.
Bee sex.
So the exploding dicks. I learned about this from some other podcasts actually, pretty recently, as well as I've been. It's kind of a catchy headline, so it's managed to get its circulation amongst all us nerds. And so what happens is, part of this queen mating, part of what they think, these scientists, when they were getting into it, is that it's not necessarily genetic diversity of having mated with this many males, but that it was quite possibly just the volume of semen that the queen was able to take back. So the greater volume of semen that the queen is able to acquire, the more eggs, or the better eggs, something along those lines, we don't necessarily understand yet, she's able to lay. It is somehow effective in increasing fecundity for her to mate with all these extra bees. And so part of like the reason that like literally they say that if there's a swarm of drones, because these drones will come out and they'll kind of fly around in groups, like not necessarily fighting with each other like a bunch of elk do or something like that, but like they're just trying to get at the first queen they see. So maybe in the sense of like not necessarily fighting, but like a speed sort of thing could be part of their edge. And
yeah.
there is some competition on some level or another, but not like combat necessarily, but a speed game in lots of ways. Because after the drone and the queen mate, the drone's endophallus and testicles literally explode. They say you can hear it. I've never heard this, and this is like the most hilarious thing ever to me, because I would love to be sitting around like walking through a field where we have our bees or something, and you just like hear these little pops, and that would be bee dicks exploding.
Oh my gosh.
And so part of the whole idea behind this is that it is like the force of the ejaculation needs to be strong enough to try to push as much of it as it can as far up into the queen as they can to be able, to spread their offspring and be viable.
Whew. That's a bucket list for you now, huh?
Yeah, it pops off the head of their endophallus actually breaks off inside of the queen, supposedly. I read this in one paper. I couldn't find it in others. What do you do with like? They must dissolve that or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like uptake
Where's
it.
it go?
Yeah, they must uptake it, because if you have 50 endophallus heads inside of you, like that's a snack, I'm figuring, right? Like, or a blockage. I mean, you got to
nutrition. I don't know.
they're not just going to sit there.
So obviously the drones only get one shot because their equipment's gone now. Do they survive that?
No.
Oh.
That's a death sentence.
Oh, okay.
It is like many males in the kingdom of bugs and beetles and creepy crawlies of other varieties. Is
Yeah.
that we get one go at it, and then it's over.
It's all we're useful for.
Well, I mean, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what's freaking crazy? Nature.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what else is crazy? This Meadcast.
Yeah.
Because we just talked about adventurous mead. We just talked about exploding bee dicks. I'm sorry, did I interrupt any more exploding bee?
No. I was trying to keep
Fallacies?
it. I was trying to keep it pretty short and concise there. I hope. I mean, if anybody has any questions, hit us up with them. I got all kinds of questions too, and I'm trying to find more answers vehemently for them.
You know,
my search engine on Google has just been ruined by looking for exploding bee dicks.
oh, you didn't do the incognito.
No, I did not. And
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking this might be a room that we create in Clubhouse and a talk. You do a little more research. Sounds like you got a good foundation of research. You do a little bit more.
It's a
and
good start.
It could be one of the most popular rooms in Clubhouse.
exploding bee dicks.
Yeah. All right.
It will be once I get a recording of it.
Yeah.
Like the popping, the
Oh,
audio
you wanna hear the
recording
sound.
of the
Yeah.
like putting milk in your Rice Krispies.
This spring, you're going to be like, hey, Nick, can you cover this and do this with this mead and do this because I got to go do some things. And you've just got my microphones out there in these drone swarms recording.
I've
it.
never
That'd be
even
awesome.
seen a drone swarm. to
Me
be
either.
honest
Yeah.
with you. Like,
well, not that I
don't know that I don't know that I have. Yeah, I don't know that I've really paid attention. Like, usually a swarm of bugs, and I tend to just turn away from it and go in a different direction.
We got everyone on the edge of their seats with the exploding bee endophalluses. I think that's a good point to cut this episode. But hey, we're back.
Rocket dicks, always a good spark to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Spark.
All right. Well, thank you, Evan, for joining us. I think we had a good talk about adventurous mead on adventures. And thank you to Ed Moss and to Donny and to Taste of AZ for contributing. Oh, and a strange view on Reddit for saying they missed our rapping and missed our episodes. Always love to hear that, and that helps us. You know what? Honestly, if you say you listen to our Meadcast and you want to hear more, that causes us to sit down and create these. So, yeah, if you got any ideas on future Meadcasts, whether it's honey, mead, bees, Norse, Viking stuff, just let us know. And yeah, we'll make it happen.
I was trying to come up with a rap there in my head, and I was just still failing miserably at it.
Yeah. Should we end it on a rap?
Talking about mead and we're talking about bees. Exploding dicks got me standing on my knees. So much pain, but mead don't take it. Gonna get this honey and we're gonna just rake it.
Gonna rake.
Well, there we go, right there. It's beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Well, our usual tagline to send you off is nothing. We don't have one, so we're gonna end it right here. And bye.
Goodbye, all.
Bye.
You have a good rest
See
of your
ya.
evening, and we'll get more out soon. We
Sorry.
promise.
Yes.
Promises.
Promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise.